Renault is like the car equivalent of Google these days. Their products are largely good now, but there are just so flippin' many of them, I lose track a little bit. This is the Austral. It's an SUV that joins the rest of Renault's SUV lineup, which is, I'm going to have to read it off my phone because there are so many. It joins the Rafale, the Arkana, the Symbioz, the Scenic, the Megane and the Capture. That is more jacked up bodies than my local gym in January. But is it any good? Is it Google Glass or is it Google Maps? Let's find out. What a searching question. The Austral is a très joli rival, the likes of the Nissan Qashqai and Kia Sportage, and it's only available as a hybrid, unlike the Kadjar it replaces. Like every modern car, it's more expensive than you'd think, costing from about 35 grand new, but this mid-spec one's under a year old, has 12,000 miles on it, and is 26.5 grand. So it's lost nearly 11 grand in depreciation in less than a year. Does that make it a used car bargain? Personally, I think Renault's doing a pretty good job of making its cars look premium these days, and the Austral's no different. Even entry-level techno models get these LED matrix headlights with this sharp light signature round there. And because this is a Techno Esprit Alpine, it gets these sportier grey blades down the bottom. Now, this comes in a fairly boring selection of colours, I'll be honest. It's your usual blues, greys, whites and blacks and silvers. It's not especially inspiring. Give us a yellow, you cowards. Speaking of colour, this two-tone blue with the black roof was originally a £1,250 option. I've had cheaper KFCs. Inside, this Austral continues the tradition of Renault's being quite nice these days. You've got a squircular steering wheel, and again, because this is a mid-spec Techno Esprit Alpine, you've got some Alcantara bits here as well. I'm not so keen on the haptic buttons on the steering wheel, but hey, it is a bit of a tech fest. You've got a big 12-inch screen here with Google Maps. That's great. It's got wireless CarPlay, Android Auto. It's really quick and responsive, and it's got physical climate controls, thumbs up all round. Also got a big digital dashboard, and because, again, this is a mid-spec one, I've got a head-up display as well, which is really big and really bright. And the Alpineness of this car comes with the semi-Alcantara seats, which are very nice and very comfortable. If you go for a top-spec one, which is called Iconic Esprit Alpine, you get a 360 camera, a sunroof, and the Harman Kardon sound system. But yeah, I like it. I've got wireless phone charger. I've got this anchor point here, so you can rest your wrist on it while you're using the touchscreen. It does block the cup holders, so if I was a more basic YouTube channel, I'd put a coffee in there and go, I've got some USB-Cs down there. And this opens, and there's storage in there as well. You've even got not quite a full-size glove box. Yeah, you get 6 out of 10 of that glove box, Renault. But otherwise, I like it. You've got cloth on the ceiling. It's a really posh-feeling interior. I like it. Oh, and I forgot to mention, if you're a parent like me, it's got a nifty feature. In the sunglasses holder, there's a mirror on it, so you can keep an eye on your kids without sacrificing your actual rearview mirror. Genius. Even if you're a tall adult like me, you're not going to struggle for backseat space in the Renault Austral. Look, I'm 6'3". I've got loads of knee room and foot room and headroom, and there's not even much for a hump in the middle of the floor, so you can have a middle seat passenger without playing footsie with each other. Also got 2 USB-Cs down there, some nets for holding stuff. You've got some reasonably okay door bins, but they're not felt lined. You've got some French flags, which you can look at. That's always a good sign. And if you fold this down, you have got some cup holders. It's really comfy back here. There is one other feature that I quite like, and that is that the whole rear bench will slide forward, so you can increase boot space a little bit, but no one can really sit here if they have legs. Now, while the Austral is very practical in the back seats, the boot is not quite so big. It's also a bit questionable that they put this E badge on the end of the name. You can only get this as a hybrid, so they've all got that, and everyone's going to think it's called the Austral, mate, or something. But anyway, 487 litres of space. That's about 100 litres down on things like the Kia Sportage and Hyundai Tucson. Under the boot floor, you've got some space where a spare wheel would normally go, so you can stuff some soft bags down there. And you've got these little cubbies at the side. You've also got levers for folding the rear seats down. So it's a good space, it's just not as big as its rivals. It can tow 1.5 tons, which is not bad really for a hybrid, and I think it just looks quite classy. But how does it drive? Well, it drives by using a column shifter like a Mercedes. Put it down into D, and then off you go. The view out is pretty averagely poor out the back corners like every other SUV in this class, but the mirrors are nice and big and they don't give you loads of wind whistle at motorway speeds, which is nice. Now, this is just a very easy, smooth car to drive. The hybrid system is a 1.2 turbocharged 3-cylinder petrol engine, and it mostly stays in the background. You can barely hear it. The hybrid system, though, takes total power up to 200 horsepower. So this will do 0 to 62 miles an hour in 8.4 seconds, which makes it feel really quite brisk when you put your foot down. You can adjust the regenerative braking using the paddles on the steering wheel. It's just actually really easy and a well-sorted hybrid system. It doesn't get jerky on the brakes or anything like that. It doesn't make the engine roar when you put your foot down. I'm struggling to find bad things to say about this car's powertrain. Now, it rides okay as well, considering it's on big 20-inch wheels. It doesn't roll much in corners and it doesn't thud you in the spine over bumps. It's just very well sorted out. Well done, Renault. It's a little bit like you developed it on bumpy British roads. Bit of a 60 limit here. It's surprisingly quick. Despite having that little 1.2 engine, you get so much help from the hybrid system, which has a kind of 1.3 kilowatt hour battery. So you don't do much driving on electric power, but it's not awful when the petrol engine's working. I dare say it's even a little bit of fun on a twisty road as well. It's a cool thing. Anyway, that sounds like a conclusion. Let's head back to me in the forest for a proper summer. Despite having more SUVs in their lineup than I've got Yorkshire puddings in my stomach, the Austral does a really, really good job of being a family SUV. Sure, it hasn't got the boot space of your Kia Sportages, your Hyundai Tucsons, but otherwise this feels really high tech and very competitive. The hybrid system is very good, it's got loads of rear seat space, and I think it looks really smart. Renault is on a bit of a roll at the moment, and if you're in the market for a good family SUV that's a hybrid, don't overlook this. If you've liked this video, please hit like, subscribe to Motorpoint YouTube channel, go down to the comments and tell me what your favourite Renault SUV is, or cake. Tell me about your favourite cake. Goodbye.